Hi, my name is Matthew Bizer, and I'm a fourth year chemical engineering student at the University of Florida, and I am directing the Russian Provisional Government of 1917 at FLCS 7. At UF, I'm heavily involved in Model UN. I compete on the college circuit and am the USG of Delegate Operations for Gatorman, which is our high school conference in January. And I'm involved in a number of student political campaigns on campus, advocating for what I believe in, and I study heavily because chemical engineering is a lot of work and takes up a lot of time. One fun fact about myself is that I'm actually from Rhode Island in New England. I grew up there and then came down to Florida for college, which makes me a pretty rare out-of-state student from that far away. My committee is the Russian Provisional Government in 1917, which basically is the interim government that took over after the first Russian Revolution in the spring of 1917. And it's a cabinet led by a prime minister, which is not a position in the committee, that consists of an ideologically diverse group of individuals that were selected to represent the various corners of the Russian political spectrum and Russian society at that time, to lead it toward, ideally, a democratic republic. So I chose this topic because Russian history is something that I've been very passionate about actually since high school. When I was in high school, I was very active in the academic decathlon competition, and in my junior year, the theme of that competition was Russia and Russian history and society. And 1917 and the revolution were obviously a very big part of that. So that's something I came to be very interested in and very actually passionate about from studying it that year. And when I came to college and got involved in Model UN my freshman year here at UF, I found that the provisional government kept coming to mind as an ideal sort of crisis committee because of how it would force delegates to disagree and debate and reach compromises, and also face these tough crises that have to be solved and resolved very quickly. So it's something actually that I've been working on for a couple of years since then, and I'm happy to see it realized at FLCS this year. So I believe this topic relates to the theme of history shapes reality very well, simply because this historical event of 101 years ago now is actually, excuse me, very, very resonant to Russia and Western civilization as a whole, even through the present day. It's really a defining moment culturally, politically, socially, economically for the largest country in the world by landmass, and it would shape all of those things for decades through the Soviet Union era and really into today. And also the idea of experimenting with creating a new democracy is something that I think remains a main subject in political studies and political experimenting through the present day as well. So one or two things that I hope delegates will focus a lot on in this committee. One, first of all, would be debate. I really hope that delegates will, see the need to compromise and focus on that a lot more than they might otherwise in a committee of this nature, because the committee is designed in such a way that on a lot of issues that the committee will have to face, there won't necessarily be an ideological consensus, because we do have this mix of liberals and socialists and communists and monarchists that have all been assembled to help lead Russia in the interim. And another big thing that I hope committee will focus on more so than the provisional government did in actual history would be domestic affairs and domestic policies. As much as there is World War I going on and the country is still fighting World War I, I really hope that delegates will not lose sight of the domestic struggles, of the working people's struggles, of the economics and socioeconomics and everything else that goes into running a country. The first clue I would give a delegate in this committee is to read up a lot on the Petrograd Soviet and what they did and what strategies they employed during the original timeline of the summer of 1917, and basically where they were at this point in time and how they got to be in real history the Soviet Union.